For a session presented by Evermore, please welcome the president of Dart Interests, Kelsey, in conversation with Skift CEO and founder, Rafat Ali.
All right, folks, how are you doing? Good? Okay, so we're in for a treat for the next two sessions, and I wanted all of you to get a sense of how many of you have heard of the company Dart Interests? So very few, which is why Chris is here. So one of the most interesting companies in US, give Chris, who's the president of Dart Interests, who also is heading Evermore Orlando. Have any of you been to the Evermore Orlando Resort? Okay, a couple of you have been. So you can invite the rest of them to come to Orlando and at this resort. So
them
Chris,
and their 20 friends.
And their 20 friends, which we're going to come to why. So give a quick primer on Dart Interest, and then we're going to come to Evermore.
Great. Dart Interests is a small part of the Dart family ecosystem, Dart family office. Ken Dart is our sole owner. The Dart family's initial wellspring of wealth came from Dart Container, which is a food packaging company. And what's interesting about that is they still today invent all their own manufacturing equipment. So in our culture, there's a very strong expectation for innovation and always having secret sauce.
So as part of that, you own this land, used to own this land right next to Disney for a long time.
Since 2012 or 13.
2012, 13. And then you decided we're going to do a resort in Orlando that'll be unlike any other resorts. The reason I got interested when I first chatted with you is when you described the concept of the resort, and it sort of is a microcosm of a lot of trends happening in hospitality and experiential that you brought into this one resort that obviously is the first one of more to come.
Right.
So this is a quick, are people being able to see this video on the site, right? They are. Giving a quick sense of what the resort is. So give a sense of why anybody should pay attention to Evermore.
Yeah, I think the reason we connected was because there are a couple parts to it that are truly innovative, that are new and different. I kind of think of that in three ways. The first way is, and out of the gate I'm going to tell you the first way is not that interesting for this audience, but it sort of sets some context, right? So the first is that Evermore is the first destination resort in Orlando. When you think about Orlando, you go there because you go to a hotel or resort because it's either theme park adjacent or conference adjacent. You don't hear of anybody going like, hey, I'm going to go to the such and such resort in Orlando and spend 5 days. But that's exactly what Evermore is. And one of the things that's been really gratifying that's happened to us is they're in the middle of Orlando. Over half of our guests are coming to us because they've chosen Evermore over an actual beach destination. And you can see in the screen why. So the resort is centered around a spectacular facsimile of a Caribbean beach. I mean, it really is amazing. It's surprising. It's way better than the pictures. And it's surprisingly good. And then around that beach are a wealth of facilities, activities, programming, 13 F&B outlets. So it's a comprehensive experience where you could come to the resort and not leave for 5 or 6 days and have a very happy experience. The resort's anchored by a new Conrad Hotel, which is 433 rooms, and a shout out to our friends here from Hilton. They have done an absolutely awesome job running the hotel, and more importantly, they've become a great partner to us across the resort.
And then Hilton Loyalty is, you integrated within Loyalty, which was a huge.
Yeah, it's a huge, because so the second part of this story is, and this is where I think it's going to get interesting, is the balance of the accommodations at the resort or what we call the Evermore residences. And they are a blend between the best parts of a vacation home and hotel services. And I absolutely loved it last night when Brian Chesky was talking about why they've added services to their platform. And the core reason was because a segment of their target guest isn't going to Airbnb because the homes don't have hotel services in them, right? And so that was exactly our thesis. That's exactly what 5 years ago when we were starting to dream this up, that's what we thought. And we also were leaning into the growing trend of multi-generational, multi-family travel. And so we have our residences are larger format. We're directly across the street from Disney World. And so we knew that there was big groups that come there. Disney validated that for us. And so the residences range from 4 to 11 bedrooms. And what they do is from the very beginning, the credo that we were operating under was, how do we take a larger group experience, families and friends together, which comes with friction. There's a lot of logistical friction. There can be emotional, like interpersonal friction. How do we create a better guest experience that gets you to what you came for, which is to connect with your family and friends, which is to have fun with them faster, to get through the logistical part, and have more of that time with the people you care about and connecting with them longer through your experience. So that was the goal. And then the way we got to that goal was we completely redesigned the house. So one of the big advantages we have is that we own and operate all of the resort, including all the houses.
Not just that, you invested all $900 million.
Yes, that's right. So we DART invested all of the money, $900 million, all out of equity, no debt. And so we had the flexibility to do exactly whatever we wanted. And so we were able, it was a great fun project to rethink a house, because normally you would sell to a third-party family. So that's your customer in that case, and so you're designing a house for that buyer. In this case, we were designing a house for a guest who was going to be there for 7 days. So that's what we were optimizing for, and we can talk more about what those characteristics are. And then we put the hotel services, and thanks again, Brian Chesky, he literally listed the services that we offer in our houses. And plus, the thing he didn't mention is, it comes with 24/7 security behind a gate, which is important to that luxury segment. So what we've created is an entirely new thing in luxury residential hospitality.
Which is a mix of accommodations and focused on groups primarily?
Yeah, focused on, the originator thought was multi-generational, grandpa and grandma, all the adult kids, and the grandchildren coming to Disney. That was the original thought.
And how did it morph?
It's morphed, so it's also multifamily, but it's any kind of milestone event. It's the ultimate, because we're not Disney dependent and because we are a destination resort, it's the ultimate place to bring your family reunion. It's the ultimate place for a wedding, a girls trip, a golf buddy trip, all this.
Company retreats even, I saw some of the smaller company retreats or team retreats.
Yeah, it works great because you can bring your leadership team in, you all stay in a house. And one of the things that's great about the houses, one of the reasons they work so well is because the rooms, there are all these wonderful common spaces that are kind of oversized, but the rooms feel like hotel rooms. So you can be in a house with your corporate group, have enough privacy, but then be meeting downstairs in the home that's wired for it, and then have all the social stuff that goes with that.
A couple of things I want to talk about. You came up with this term alpha booker. So explain what alpha bookers are.
Yeah, the idea was all part of that whole, to get to the ease of travel, that idea of making it easier to get to the fun, easier to connect. So there's this, the unsung hero of the multi-generational trip, the multifamily trip, is we call them the alpha booker. They're that lovely soul that makes all the arrangements, recruits everybody. They're the bank, right? They collect all the money. And so we tried to come up with ways to make the alpha booker's life a lot easier, to let them actually have fun on their trip that they organized. And some of that has to do with providing all kinds of activities and making it easy to get the food into the house and all those things. But then there are other sort of like pragmatic things. Like on the website, we have a split the bill tool. So instead of the alpha booker acting as the bank and hitting up everybody from Venmo, the alpha booker tells us who's coming, and then we send them a bill. And so we take care of those kinds of logistical problems.
And why do you position it as an anti-resort? Sorry, no, anti-theme park.
We're not positioned anti-theme park. We love our neighbor because it's generating all kinds of guests. But we thought of from the beginning. Maybe what you're thinking of, Rafat, is the design from the beginning was like, we want to make the antidote to the theme park experience, right? Theme parks are hectic, right? And so when you leave the park, we wanted it to be a real oasis, like a literal oasis, and a place where you could gather and kind of drop your shoulders and relax and connect, as opposed to being in the frenzy of the theme park.
And this is Evermore Orlando.
Yep.
When will Evermore, I'm going to make up some name, Evermore.
Call it mountain or beach. We're actively designing the next phases of Evermore Orlando, and we're actively on the hunt for both mountain destinations, beach destinations, because we've invested $900 million so far. We're going up. We are ready to invest more money in this concept because we really believe in it.
So if anybody has land to sell, email Chris at
Low seasonality, great air access, mountain
next
beach
to a theme
environments.
park.
Yeah,
Just yeah.
exactly. Hit me up.
And in terms of how you're thinking about integrating technology as part of the whole experience, there's a lot of talk about AI technology. Does it feature in how you're thinking about how to build the experience itself?
You know, there's people that are so much smarter than me on this topic. I mean, I know, you know, we know it's coming. We're thinking about it. We're worried about it. I have this dream of an AI concierge that will take care of all your needs. But I don't have any wisdom for this audience that in particular.
Is the Evermore experience mobile? Like, is the digital experience mobile centric?
Yeah, we have an app. We have an app that's mediocre. It's about to become a great app because we're replacing it. You know, you learn a lot in a year's worth of operation.
Which also is a pitch for people who want, if you want a better app, if you want to tell them how to make a better app.
Yeah, exactly.
To those. What do you want from the travel industry? You're sitting at a travel industry conference. You want to interface with the travel industry. How can companies in travel industry interact with you?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I want to tell you about the kind of other part of the innovation that we're really excited about. And I think it is a great place where we can interact with all kinds of vendors. But you know, in this world, it's so much better to be lucky than smart, right? And so we built this better mousetrap for a group travel experience. And we happen to have delivered that in 2024, the year after the Surgeon General declared loneliness an epidemic. Right? That's the next epidemic. And so I think everybody in this audience can relate to it. We're all worried about screen time, digital addiction. We're worried about that for our kids. And you know, then you layer on political divisiveness, and there's this great sense of isolation. And now entering into the zeitgeist is this idea of relational wellness.
Yeah, which is a very good term.
Yeah, which is fascinating. And what we've learned from our guests is that because we created this experience where it's easy to connect with family and friends, they're leaving with this sense of rejuvenation, right? And I think that, you know, when you think about the wellness industry and hospitality and wellness, it's all individual focused, right? You know, it's about good sleep and spa and meditation and longevity, all inward focused.
Versus the community part.
External, and you know, we humans need human connection, and we really believe that this idea of relational wellness, of creating health, that you walk out of an experience where you've connected with family and friends, is more valuable than any massage you'll ever get or any supplements you'll ever take.
Okay. On that, we'll end that. Thank you, Chris, and hope to see you again next year.
Thank you, Rafat.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
Thanks, Robin.
Yeah.